Hi there, everyone. Member of Parliament Garnet Jennis here. Welcome to another kind of weekly episode of what we're calling News from Ukraine's Frontline. I know many people here in Canada are doing their best to follow closely, kind of through the media, what's happening in Ukraine following the horrific further invasion by the Putin regime, and so many Canadians are doing what we can. Thinking about and trying to provide practical support to the people of Ukraine as they fight back against this act of Russian state aggression. What we're trying to do through these weekly reports from Ukraine's Frontline is myself in collaboration with Luba, who's an intern in my office with the Ukraine Parliamentary Program. We're working to bring you updates from guests in Ukraine who can give really immediate, on the ground reports back about some of the things that are going on and the work being done. So if you find this interesting and valuable, please share it and tune in a week from today. We're going to be doing these for a few more weeks till about the end of June at 1:30 Eastern time here in Ottawa, or 11:30 in Alberta, providing you with these updates from Ukraine's front line. So I'm going to turn it over to Luba now, who's working with me on this important project, and she's going to introduce our special guest for today.
Yeah, thank you, Garnet. So I would like to introduce our guest today is Lena Rozvadovska. She is a co-founder and chair of the Voices of Children Foundation. This organization has been helping children affected by the war since 2015, and they have been doing a great job assisting with psychological help, and also since the full-scale invasion of Russia, they also been helping evacuate families. And I think Lena would share everything that the organization doing right now better than me. So yeah, Garnet, you can go.
Great, Alana, thank you for joining us, and why don't you kick things off here with an explanation of the work you're doing right now, especially especially in the last few months since the further invasion.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for introducing. I really want to, first of all, I would like to express our thanks to all the donators from Canada, because we all receive so much support from people abroad. We all receive not only just donations, we all receive so many words of support, so many letters and mails with the warm wishes of about victory. And it's really very helpful to understand that people around the world are really united in this war, and they are really staying with the Ukrainians. So this is first of all, really big thank you. What we are doing, yes, basically our charity foundation, Voices of Children, it's a charity about helping children with the war trauma. And since the war starts in Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast from 2015, we try to organize psychological support and any other help for the families who are living in the war conditions for the last 8 years. So with the Russian invasion, 24 February 2022, the scale of problems grow up in numerous scale. So now for now we have just for the last almost 3 months, we have 243 children died, and it's not it's not the final number, unfortunately, because we still don't know what's going on in the territories which already occupied by the Russian troops. So what we try now to provide, it's support with the evacuational and with the resettlement of the people, with the providing the very basic needs in the shelters, when the people can find the hot meal and the safety place for sleep. Also now we understand that the very important it's psychological and psychosocial support, because there is so many people who left their homes, and for now they don't have where to come back. Their cities or villages already under the control of Russian troops, and they are not going to live there, or they've been destroyed. So this is a huge problem which the Ukraine faced now for the years, for the many years ago, because there is a millions of people who don't have where to come back. There is a millions of people who lost somebody from their family. There is a millions of people who lost connections with their relatives. Let's say they stayed in the occupied areas, and now they cannot find them. And more than this, it is not just a war. If you ever saw the consequences of Russian troops being in Bucha and Irpin near Kiev, you would say that this is again genocide, because this is the murders of civilians. So this is something that we should go through for the past years, for the future years. And what we are now trying to do is to provide and to design as much effective program of psychological and psychosocial support for the families and for the children as possible. And we understand that we will have to work for the next generation, I would say, because this is something that will not pass just as it is, as a bad dream. One of our kids we know, with whom we are working with, and who lost already his home, and who now in evacuation in another city with her family, and who now lost all his friends because they are now separated in the millions city all over the world. And once he said, and once his father told him, well, this is all looks like a bad dream, nightmare. But this boy, 9 years old, said him back that this is not a bad dream or not nightmare, because in the morning you will wake up and you will understand that it was a nightmare, and everything in the morning becomes okay, because you understand that this is a nightmare. But this is not a nightmare. Every morning you wake up, and it's never end. So this is something that we have to live with, and this is something that we have to go through. And anyway, to bring our children their childhood, which belongs them, just because this is their right to have a childhood.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask one question first, and then Luba, you can ask the next one. Could you just share a bit more specifically about where you're operating? Are you working with Ukrainian children that are in other countries right now, or are you working with Ukrainian children only who are inside of Ukraine? Just tell us a bit more about the nature of that reach.
Physically, we are in Ukraine, inside Ukraine. So we are working with the children who are living in the cities around Ukraine, from Kiev to Lviv, to the western regions where so many IDPs and people who've been evacuated, and in Kiev and Dnipro, which is much closer now to the front line. And also we've been operating with the evacuational programs in the eastern part of Ukraine. So it's mostly in Ukraine, not mostly, but physically we are presented in Ukraine. But we have our hotline of psychological support and chatbot, like from Telegram, by Telegram, so by Messenger. You can send us requests that any family from all over the world, they can send us requests that they need psychological support, and they will receive it by online session. And it's very easy, and it's very, by the way, and they use it really often, because once you left Ukraine and you are in Germany, you cannot find you cannot find the psychological or any other specialist for your kids or for yourself in your native language. So this is very important for them to receive the consultation or support in their native language. So they are really, so we have a lot of requests from abroad. So we are working with the Ukrainians who are now all over the world, but only as an online support.
Thank you. Luba, do you want to ask a question next?
Yeah, so I'm very amazed by the work you do. So you give psychological support for kids, and I remember one scene that I witnessed in Lviv train station when the journalists were taking an interview of the mother and her small kids that just evacuated Mariupol, and it was like a couple months ago. And I remember when the air raid siren went off in Lviv, the girl started to cry, and she was begging her mom to go and kind of find a shelter. And her mom told that we are actually in safety in Lviv during air raid sirens. And you can just imagine what kids have to go through. And in Mariupol, for example, this was where they heard the air raid sirens. It was how they had to go through, and actually in Lviv, in Western Ukraine, where they had to evacuate, they also were affected by that. So can you also talk more about how you provide this psychological support, and how kids are coping with this problem, and whether they have whether there's any progress in their rehabilitation, I would say.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, really, to be honest, it's really not easy to find in Ukraine the 100% safety place, because even in Lviv we have air shellings, and 7 people died because of the Russians bombed Lviv directly city and the cities around Lviv. And these air sirens we have in all regions. It depends how often. It's for sure the regions which are more close to the front line, which is in the east part of Ukraine, and near the Crimea part. So for sure, there are the more danger places. But we have almost every day, almost every second day, we have the air sirens in Lviv. So it means that there is a danger in the sky. But for sure, this is more safety than, let's say, in Mariupol. We are not comparing to Mariupol. No, there is nothing compared to Mariupol. So yeah, it's a normal reaction of a kid to cry and to start scare for the not normal situations. So what we see now, that there is really a lot of scare, or the parents really asking us how to support their children, because their behavior changed. Their I don't know, they became more aggressive, or in the same way more depressive. So they are really asking us the advice is how to support their children. And it's a normal when your psychology, when you start to react like this on the situation that is not normal. But to understand, like they always can come to us and to receive any support they need. But the most important thing that a lot of their basic needs to live, and where to live, and what to eat, and where to have money for. This is also very important question. So we also understand that firstly, that we will provide that we want to provide our psychological support. We have to understand that if the parents, they don't have where to live, first of all, we have to think about their basic needs. And just 10 minutes ago, I also spoke with one mother from Mariupol. She also fled Mariupol in a very hard way by her foot for 20 kilometers with 2 children. She was in Azovstal area. So now she's in Kiev, and she already finished all her savings for renting apartment. And what we understand now, that first of all, we will provide her some financial support for find a place where to live. And the second, we will also invite her and her children for some group sessions or individual sessions if there will be like a request for this. But it is a process. This is something for being very flexible and being very creative how to support this or that family, because the amount of the IDPs, the scale of it, just really huge. It's a millions, and so for every individual case, we try to find individual answer how to support.
Yeah, for those that are less familiar with the terminology, IDP is internally displaced person. That's someone who's not technically in the technical legal sense a refugee because they haven't left their country, but they've been forced to flee their home and remain in the country. So this would be people that have fled from one part of Ukraine to another safer part of Ukraine. Olena, could you speak to the issue of sexual violence? There's reports in the media about increasing sexual violence by Russian invaders. Is there indication that children are being targeted as part of that as well? And are you working with children and families that have experienced that?
We know about these facts, and we know those psychologists who are working with these facts. And this is very delicate cases, and we try to be as much delicate as possible when we try to organize any support or expert for these cases. But they are, and I'm afraid that this is not all of the cases that we know, that there is much more but silent. But what we are now try to show these victims that society will not target them, will not stereotype them, or will not discriminate them, because once you go public and says about the fact of your sexual about this experience, you really be afraid. You will be afraid what the society will give you, will turn you back. Will you really receive support? So what we are now trying also to work with the prosecutor office, with the state offices, it's how to provide total privacy for those children, for those family, how to provide the standard of professional standard for all the specialists who will work around this case, and also how to really demonstrate those victims who are still silent that we are ready to support and really protect them. So this is very delicate situations, and we know about these facts. Yes, they are.
Thank you for sharing that, and just such horrific circumstances people are dealing with, and we really appreciate the work you're doing. Luba, go ahead if you got another question.
Yeah, I think would wrap our conversation. I would also want to ask how people can help those children. How people. I mean, I think it's also important for, as you told, the Canadians have been helping a lot, and I would think that also it's important to share how people can help children, what are the ways, and maybe helping your organization or in different ways, what can be done to support kids and people who are affected by these horrible things.
Yeah, talking about Canadians, for sure, the most easiest help it will be to help those Ukrainians who already fled our country and now live in Canada. I don't know about the numbers of these people, but I'm sure there is. They must be, and I know that Canada also very friendly country for Ukraine. So this is as much you are closer to those kids, as much easier to help, and just providing through very general questions about maybe you need something, maybe you need support, because what we for sure know that most of the families, they are really in a very tight economic financial situation, for sure, because some of them can lost everything they built for the years, business, reputation, I don't know, house, home, all the things. Just to help showing that they're not alone. And I know that for some families are really hard to to start a new life when you are 45, and you never wanted to start a new life when you're 45, but the war was the reason why you fled the country so far. So it's really, from a psychological side, it's very difficult. So just to the person can really say that she's okay, she's fine, but it can be very tough. And the situation is that they're like, the Ukrainians, this is a nation, this is not a nation of refugees, we are like to live in a country where we was born. This is very important for us. Tradition, language, songs, spirit, and everything, and that it's family connection. So this is something that we really care about. And now with their homes, so many families, they lost their traditions, their garden, their connection with the family, and something that was really not material thing, but thing which understood their belongings. So as many will be possibilities for them to feel themselves like at home and abroad. It will be, I think, very supportive thing, and also for children to explain the tradition of a new country, to show them more, to give them feeling that the world is big, and even if you had to fled your country, it's not mean that you cannot find a new friends in a very new country. So I think it will be very important.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for everything you've shared with us. This discussion is making me think about the experience of my grandmother. People who follow me will know this. She was a Holocaust survivor and turned 18 in 1945, and of course left after the war. And I can say from knowing her, when she was long past those experiences, she was a resilient, happy, loving person. But there were impacts, and there were things that she remembered that were of course very painful. So the work you're doing to help people deal with their experiences, but also just recognizing the horror and the impact that of those experiences. We really appreciate the work you do and you taking the time to be with us today for this conversation. Any final words at all you want to share, and then Luba, you can wrap us up after that.
Yeah, thank you for let us share these voices, because it's for us it's really important to understand that people around the world, they know what we are going through. They know what our children going through, and also for them it's also important. It's even important for ourselves to build our resilience, to understand that we are not invisible. That it's a very bad situation when the victim understands that that she's invisible, that nobody hear her and nobody see her. So when you have the understanding that anyway that it's very clear, and the world understand, and they want to know and they support, it's also very supportive thing, because we have this war for the years, I think, because it's very easy to start the war, but it's very difficult to finish the war, and nobody understand what is the finish of the war. What will be the finish when everybody died, or I don't know what is the finish, how it have to finish. And we also understand that even when the artillery stop to work, it's not mean that the war will be finished, because there is so many destroyed lives. and we have to rebuild it somehow. So we understand that we will be faced with the consequences for the years. But anyway, we will build our resilience and our strongness from very strongly, because we already paid so high cost for this, for just to be Ukrainian and just to live and just to exist, because the enemy who are against us, they don't want we exist at all. So this is our fight, and we understand that we already pay so high price for this, and this is something that cannot be forgotten and forgiven, and this is something that we are not don't want to stay silent, don't want to keep silent. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Alana, for sharing with us. Thank you for joining this conversation. I think it's very important to highlight this the importance of not being silenced. And I also would like to add a final remark, is that if someone wants to help kids and children, and you can donate to Voices of Children. We left the link there in this post, so feel free, or you just want to send like some words of support, you can we left the link for the Voices of Children Foundation, so you can contact them. And thank you, Garnet, for also for this opportunity to share the voices of Ukrainians and tell more about what Ukraine has to go through. And for the next week, we will also have another episode of our news from Ukraine's Frontline. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.